Hello and welcome back or welcome to the channel. I'm Loudguns and in today's video I'm going to be looking at turning my Aegis Idris-M into a proper base of operations for our org, Frontier Consolidated. Now I've had a bit of real life stuff going on, but in between crying about the price of vet treatments here in the UK, I've been squeezing in a bit of time with this absolute beast, screwing it up with our org and community and taking it out into battle. But that got me to thinking, how would you go about setting one up for long range patrol duties? How would it be applicable to what we've got in game now and what we might have in the future? So if that sounds good to you, then grab a cup of tea while I roll the intro, then let's get into it. Like many folks, I was incredibly surprised at this Invictus launch week's major release. I think getting the Idris out into player hands makes complete sense. The ship has been in game for quite a while now, and through hijacking, it's been possible to take control of one and use it for a play session, so it's hardly like releasing it represents any form of spoiler as far as I'm concerned. However, having the ability to spawn yours in a hangar and take the time to prep it elevates the situation to a whole new level, as does the new tech allowing you to quantum to ships which are out in deep space. So in this vid, I'm going to give a bit of an overview of the Idris, but then go through how we set ours up, hopefully giving you a feel for what a fully crewed or capital ship looks like and what it's capable of. But, while there's obviously a ton of hype around a ship like this, I would as ever like to issue my standard disclaimer. As you'll see in this vid, the Idris is a ship for a lot of people, if you want to run with a proper crew that is. And while when it becomes available to acquire in game, as it will in the not too distant future, it will undoubtedly take a ton of work, it's sort of a chicken and egg situation in my opinion. If you don't have enough people to work together to earn one of these in game, then you probably don't have enough people to run one effectively anyway. Now I was incredibly lucky and won my Idris-M in a competition. Massive thank you to all of the org and community members who supported that effort, by the way. But if I hadn't, then there's no way I personally would part with $1,500 for one. You know, did I mention vet bills? So if this vid leaves you craving an Idris or one of the other as yet unreleased caps like the Kraken or the Javelin, then my suggestion would be to find an org rather than digging through your desk finding your credit card. And of course, if you'd like to check ours out, then you'll find the link to FRCN's Discord down in the video description below. So let's start with just a whistle-stop rundown of the specs. In terms of components, everything on board is capital size, or size 4, and we've got 2 power plants, 2 coolers and 2 shields. Just for a guide, the shields on the Idris each have 1.2 million hit points. Compare this to the next step down at size 3, where even the highest HP industrial shields like the Parapet only have about 68k. The frontline QT drive is also no slouch, with a top speed of 718,000 km per second, far outstripping the likes of the XL1, which maxes at 324k. However, the acceleration is a fair bit slower, so for shorter jumps like Crusader to Hurston, the XL1 is quicker, and for jumps in the range of the 60 GM or so from Microtech to ArcCorp, they offer similar travel times. However, as we do expand into longer and longer range jumps, the cap ships are going to come into their own versus what we have now, both in terms of speed and max range given their ginormous fuel tanks. In terms of firepower though, from what we currently have available to us, the Idris is hands down the great white of the SC universe. There are a total of 7 man turrets, with 6 of them packing dual size 5s, while the prow turret offers dual size 7s. Then there are a further 3 remote turrets manned from the bridge, each bringing a further dual size 4. As standard, the man turrets are laser based while these remote ones are ballistic Gatlings, although on mine I switched these out for more laser repeaters just to reduce the rearming. I can't wait for the ballistic weapon updates allowing us to reload with ammo from the cargo hold though, since a mixed loadout is if nothing else incredibly cool looking. But we can't talk about guns without fixating a bit on the size 10 destroyer mass driver on the nose. This falls just directly under pilot control and you have to hold down the fire key to build the charge before releasing it. That can take a while and you need to keep your pip on the target, but it delivers a truly stupid alpha strike that allowed me to one-shot a reclaimer from 9 kilometers in one of our outings. On top of this, we've got a payload of 10 size 5 torpedoes and a total of 11 point defense turrets equipped with laser repeaters for keeping inbound ordnance off us. These are very effective against torps and light fighters at about 2 to 2.5 kilometers, but as showcased by Avenger 1, the Idris is particularly susceptible to close-range, dumb-fired torpedoes from the likes of the Polaris, particularly since these seem to be doing splash damage at the moment that can critically damage the power plants and leave you adrift. But as my mother always said, it's what's on the inside that really counts, and I want to put the Idris's hangar to proper use. Now just having a huge open space like this is absolutely massive when we start to think about the ship as a base of ops for our org, since it allows us to switch in and out different ships for different utilities. However, I think I'm going to keep the primary focus on combat, looking at this as a launch pad for some of the newer content like patrol and ambush missions, Hunt the Polaris and Hathor, or as a response ship to any PvP encounters the org gets into, capable of deploying a quick reaction force. So first up, we're going to load on our fighter squadron. I've decided to go with 3 Anvil Arrows, 4 Gladius Valiants, and for the squadron leader, an Anvil F7A Mark II. Then I want to think about getting our FPS combat folks dropped into targets, either to hit things like the ground locations at Hathor, into the exec hangars, or to board enemy ships that we may have disabled. While we don't have the room for some of the more dedicated dropships, we'll bring along a pair of Anvil Pisces C8Xs. These small shuttles aren't going to tank any flak particularly well, but we've got the fighter squadron to shield them, and sometimes being small, nimble and able to land in really tight spots is actually better. The Pisces each have 2 drop seats as well as the pilot's chair, so they can comfortably insert 3 Marines each, but realistically with the open hold you can just clown car a lot more inside. For pure utility, and to make use of our convenient side cubbies, I've also loaded on my new Greycat MTV, just in case we need a ground car with a little firepower, as well as my standard Atlas and a Geo. There's plenty of room around these spots, so realistically when the Geo is available to buy in game, I'd probably add 3 or 4 of them, so that we can make short work of the gems in the Hathor cave. I've also used the cubbies to store some quick access boxes, where we're keeping things like Cambio repair tools and RMC vials, and these will just let ground crews touch up any superficial damage to the fighters if they take a knock. If you head down into the underbelly of the ship, you'll also find the Argo MPUV hangar, and while I did consider bringing along an MPUV tractor, which might actually be really useful for removing any debris from your hangar, we found that you can actually fit another Pisces in here, and I thought this was a perfect spot to keep a C8R rescue variant, so that our rapid medical rescue squads could launch quickly and head off to recover casualties. So with the hangar loaded, it's time to get the crew together and roll out, so we can have a bit of a tour of the rest of the ship. Through the doors and up to the sides of the hangar you'll find 2 mezzanines, or the upper hangar deck. On the starboard side, you'll find the flight control room. For the time being this is only kind of useful, since here you'll find direct controls for each of the main hangar doors, allowing you to distinctly open front or back. This is actually of use, since one of your major risks is getting boarded if you've got your hangar door open unnecessarily, so having someone controlling exactly what needs to be open when is ideal. Also you want to avoid using the simple open exterior commands if you're fully loaded, since anything you've got in the MPUV hangar will just fall out if you're not careful. In the future though, I'm hoping you'll get more functionality to this deck, ideally with status updates or UI centered around utilizing and allocating the floor space of the hangar below. And over on the port side you'll find the pilot ready area, with benches overlooking the hangar and the gym. Again, I can't wait to see if they flesh this out with sim pods or maybe things like weights that can impact your character stats like we've seen in games like GTA. But for now we use it for boxing matches, friendly wagering encouraged. The main deck though contains the vast majority of the ship's amenities. To starboard as you come up the stairs from the control room you'll find the armory and shooting range. I've opted to load the first room with plenty of spare max lifts and med guns, while the gun racks in the shooting range itself are just full of guns. While the ship is absolutely fantastic, you can't help but walk through areas of this and just see the potential still to come. For instance, I would love a proper target practice minigame, but for now we'll just make do with Picos. If you want the really good guns though, you'll have to see the Quartermaster. On the opposite side above the ready room is the brig. For now, we keep the most offensive and dangerous prisoners here until they await trial, but you can see some thought going into future features here, with the potential for bounty hunting missions that require you to in-cap and capture a target rather than straight up killing them. Then working back to front, at the very rear of the ship you'll find the briefing room, where I give regular health and safety lectures that the whole org find exhilarating. Forward from here is the engine room. Just make sure to have your ship guards posted on the doors here, as any boarders or infiltrators in the future should be making a beeline for here, since they could probably disable the ship. Next up, we've got the cargo room, which we've filled with storage crates, allowing us to pack plenty of spare gear like alternative armor sets and store any valuable loot that we acquire on our travels. Cargo room is connected to the hangar below by 2 elevators. Just be careful when using the port side one, as the crane can cause stuff to get wedged. Hats off to Ravnak and Noise Maze for their ingenious use of an STV to unblock this. Coincidentally, that's why my STV lives here now. At 2 spots on the main deck you'll find these tunnels that will connect you from port to starboard sides. They also provide a really cool view of the hangar down below through the windows. Amidships we've got the crew quarters, centred on the mess hall where we've got every flavour of crews you could dream of. While the crew have a bunk room, the captain gets their own quarters, complete with a desk where I mostly deal with petitions to add another text channel to the Discord. And across from the captain's room is another bedroom for the XO. It's time to get up, Siler. This means there's nobody on the bridge. And towards the bow of the main deck, we've got the missile room, housing our torp payload, and the medical facilities where careless members of the crew are receiving treatment. Clearly they weren't paying attention at the health and safety lecture. Off the main deck you'll find 2 staircases offering access to the bridge, and we've also got an elevator in the middle of the ship that takes you up there. Again, a good idea to post guards around here. While some of this is obviously a bit of tongue-in-cheek RP, it does highlight a good point about truly operating a ship like this in combat. The Idris is vulnerable to boarding action, as many of us have proven by shooting one open and boarding it. So if you're considering what it takes to make a full crew, don't just count turrets, bridge seats and ships in your hangar, also factor in a security element. If boarders force you to pull people off turrets to deal with them, then they've already succeeded in reducing your ship's threat level in the fight. But the bridge itself is a sight to behold. I remember the very first time I got on board an Anvil Carrack when I'd been playing StarCit for a few days back in 2019, and I was blown away, but this is just in an entirely different league. For the rear section we've got control seats for the remote gunnery, while up front we've got seats for the flight crew, and of course the captain's chair with the best view in the house. The Idris is an amazing piece of design, and honestly, without wanting to sound overly gushing, since while I'm generally positive about the game I do prefer my feet on the ground, my hat goes off to the devs for making this. But where it becomes something truly special is when you see it filled with your mates. And while obviously I hope this is just the start of a long period of iteration with more functionality coming in as game systems see further development, it's actually really fun to use now, giving you a platform to base your org out of and go hit up a huge variety of content. I would like to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to everyone who got together and helped make this video, and especially to my amazing loading crew, Ravnak, Noise Maze, Only One Crazy and Flint. If you enjoyed the video and think I've earned it, then please do hit those all-important like and subscribe buttons. I do also have a Patreon if you want to contribute to my burrito editing fund, but honestly, just by watching and sharing, you're already doing more than enough. This vid has given me a taste, and soon I want to really get into the weeds with a Getting Organised episode where we put together org fleets centred around these patrol type missions, so stay tuned for that. And please do hit me up in the comments as well. What would be in your hangar for your org's home base? How have you been enjoying the Idris so far? And how much Karanite and Merc Guild script do you reckon we're going to have to farm to build one in game? But with all that said, I just want to say thank you very much for watching all the way to the end, and I look forward to seeing you next time.